What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be recapping UFC Fight Night Edwards versus Brady. We're going to be going through every fight on the card, giving you my opinions on each of them. And yeah, let's get straight into it. It was a pretty decent card. First fight of the night, Guram Kutsteledze took on Kawe Fernandez, and honestly, he looked terrible. He looked atrocious. Kawe Fernandez was beating up those legs, dropped him a few times with leg kicks. I thought it was going to be a leg kick TKO at one point. It was bad, man. Kawe Fernandez just put on a striking clinic against Guram. He had nothing for him, man. I thought Guram was going to be able to get the takedowns, a little bit more experience. He was going to be able to pull off a close win, but yeah, man, I don't think Guram's even UFC level at this point. And dude, yeah, I don't know, man. Kawe Fernandez just beat the shit out of his legs. And he looks good, man. Caio Fernandez is a fun striker. He looks fast. He looks quick. He looks dangerous. His leg kicks are brutal. And honestly, man, there's a lot of fun fights you could do for this guy in the division, man. Guram Kutateledze should be cut, in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe I'm just hating, but he sold my pick, and he looked terrible against a who seemed to be a low level fighter. Maybe he's not actually a low level fighter because he just put on a great performance. But yeah, man, Guram Kutateledze got absolutely shut down and schooled by Caio Fernandez. So yeah, Caio Fernandez picks up the decision win. Let's move on to the next fight. Cowlin Loughran versus Nathan Fletcher. I picked Nathan Fletcher to get a 29-28 unanimous decision win, and it was close, man. It was a really close fight. Cowlin Loughran picks up the split decision victory. First round, he just takes him down, holds him down consistently. Nathan Fletcher didn't really have anything for him. Second round, more grappling, but the other way. Nathan Fletcher kind of, hops on his back, and he's just sitting there the entire time, and just being heavy on Colin Loughran's back and draining his energy. And he's hitting him with good shots off his back, and it's looking good for Nathan Fletcher. He wins the second round. And then the third round, man, Nathan Fletcher just doesn't really do enough. It's like, I feel like Nathan Fletcher thought he won the first round, so he was kind of trying to coast in the third. And maybe his coach like shouted something near the end because the entire round, Colin Loughran was winning it. He was out striking him, landing the better shots, getting the takedowns, and Nathan Fletcher was just it seemed like he was coasting. And I was telling him, like, dude, you didn't win the first round. What are you doing? Like, why are you coasting? If Kellen Loughran wins this round, he wins the fight. Kellen Loughran won the first, in my opinion. So, yeah, man, Nathan Fletcher tried to coast, and then maybe his coach said something because in, like, the last, like, 10, 15 seconds, he just starts landing on Kellen Loughran, cuts him open with an elbow, and does a lot of damage in the last round. I don't know. This fight could go either way because Kellen Loughran was winning, like, 4 minutes and 40 seconds, 4 minutes and 50 seconds of the entire round. He was winning that entire round, basically. And you could argue Fletcher should have taken it with the damage at the end, but who knows, man? Who knows? I watching it initially, I thought Fletcher should have took that round, but it's close, man. It could go either way. Not a robbery. One of those fights that just could go either way. And yeah, Calvin Loughran picks up the split decision win. Nathan Fletcher, he should have done more throughout the third round instead of just waiting for the last 10 seconds to unload. He shouldn't have done that. He had to make it clear, and Calvin Loughran gets the win because of it. So yeah, hopefully Nathan Fletcher learns from his mistake, and yeah, Calvin Loughran picks up the win. Let's move on to the next fight. Shauna Bannon versus Pooja Tomar. This fight was actually pretty interesting. Shauna Bannon comes out with the weird stance, like always, trying to like stand on one leg and hop towards Pooja Tomar and like kick at her like a fucking flamingo or whatever. And it was kind of working actually. She landed at one point in the first round, she landed a really good side kick to the head, and that was pretty impressive. Pooja Tomar, I just couldn't trust her with that reach. She wasn't able to get anything significant off. She landed a few good boxing combos in on the inside, but Shauna Bannon was just able to keep her at range most of the time. And yeah, second round, I think Pooja Tomar like kicks her, and then Shauna Bannon complains about a low blow, and then Pooja Tomar lands a flush head kick that drops Shauna Bannon, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna go 0 for 3 on picks. But Shauna Bannon clutches up. Honestly, I thought the fight was gonna be stopped from the head kick. It looks like she went out cold. Like honestly, like when she got hit with the head kick, and then Pooja Tomar jumped on her, like it looked like Shauna Bannon was out, and I'm surprised they didn't call it honestly. But Shauna Bannon recovers and then works her way to an armbar and gets the armbar in the second round. So really, really impressive finish from Shauna Bannon. Pooja Tomar, I've been saying this, she is in UFC level. I thought she lost her UFC debut too, so 0-2 in the UFC in my opinion. And yeah, Shauna Bannon just gets the armbar in the second round. Man, I really thought my pick was over here, but Shauna Bannon clutched up. So yeah, let's move on to the next fight. Christian Leroy Duncan versus Andre Pulayev. CLD pulls through and gets the win. I picked him as a lock. I knew that Pulayev just wasn't that good. Didn't really have much power. Didn't have much of a wrestling game to go to, and Duncan was just going to be too fast, too dangerous, too explosive, too athletic, and just the better fighter than Andre Pulayev. And he was. He beat the fuck out of Andre Pulayev. Pulayev had no success. He was just beating the shit out of him. First round, they're kind of just going back and forth. Duncan gets some cage control. I don't know why he was going to the cage so much. He was outstriking Pulayev cleanly from range, and Pulayev just couldn't really do anything. He was just not fast enough. He was looking sloppy, and Chris Duncan was just piecing him up. Second round, same thing pretty much. And then third round, near the end of it, Pulayev almost gets finished. Duncan was landing some good elbows against the fence, chasing him down, and Pulayev almost got finished. He got saved by the bell. I'm pretty sure one of the judges gave CLD a 30-26. I'm assuming that third round might have been a 10-8, but yeah, Andre Pulayev literally had nothing. He doesn't look bad. He isn't like horrible, but getting CLD as a debut is crazy. That's why I took CLD as a lock because CLD's not a scrub. CLD's fucking good. So yeah, I don't know why they gave Pulayev CLD as his first UFC fight. They should have gave him like fucking Paul Craig or something. But yeah, CLD picks up the decision win, 30-27. Pulayev had no success, and cut him from the UFC. Let him develop some more skills, and then bring him back against a lower level guy. Because honestly, getting your debut against CLD is stupid. That's just unfair. So yeah, CLD gets it done. Let's move on to the next fight. Marcin Tybura versus Mick Parkin. I've seen a lot of people calling this a robbery. I disagree. I thought Tybura won the first and the third. He was just better. It was weird. I thought Mick Parkin was going to be able to outstrike him, but then Tybura was just going to get the body lock takedowns, get him up against the fence, grind him out, tire him out, and just ground and pound him a bunch. But it was kind of the opposite. Tybura outstruck him, and Mick Parkin had more wrestling success. First round, Tybura is being really unorthodox, really weird. He's landing some three-piece combos, throwing a kick at the end of his punches, and he's looking good, man. He's outstriking Mick Parkin, and then at the end of the round, Tybura gets a takedown, but doesn't really do much with it. Yeah, Tybura round one. Round two, man, I was really worried because Mick Parkin almost ground and pound TKO'd Marcin Tybura. It looked like he went out, but he survived. He did good. And yeah, man, second round easily went to Mick Parkin. He ground and pounded him. He ground and pounded the fuck out of him and stayed on top of him. Yeah, I was not expecting him to offensively wrestle against Tybura, but he did. And I think it was because Tybura like threw something and then tripped on the way back, and then Mick Parkin just jumped on him. So yeah, man, a lot of good ground and pound from Mick Parkin. And then third round, man, Mick Parkin just looks like he's tired. He looks like he overexerted himself from the ground and pound, and he wasn't able to get Tybura out of there. I told people, man, Tybura's not getting KO'd by Mick Parkin. Mick Parkin is pillow fisted for a heavyweight. He's not going to be able to crack Tybura. You need to have insane power to knock out Tybura. Mick Parkin just doesn't have that. People seen him knock out Lucas Brzeski, and we're like, oh my fucking god, this guy's a fucking animal. Mick Parkin, man, this guy's a KO artist. He knocked out Lucas Brzeski. I could fucking knock out Lucas Brzeski. This guy gets KO'd by everybody. But yeah, good win for Marcin Tybura. He picks it up. Not a robbery. Tybura won rounds 1 and 3. There was another very controversial decision later in this card. We'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, man, great win for Marcin Tybura. Third round, man. I don't know. This is gonna sound crazy, but this might be the first time Marcin Tybura had a speed advantage against someone on the feet. Mick Parkin looked so slow. He looked like he just didn't want to be there. Like, okay, I shouldn't say he didn't want to be there because like he looked all right, but Tybura was cleanly outstriking him and like the faster, better fighter with better hands. Like he landed some heavy shots on Mick Parkin, and he just did better. So yeah, man, Tybura picks up a good win. Frochek's another prospect. I called it. It happens every time. You can't beat this guy unless you're like top 5 caliber. You're not beating Tybura, and Mick Parkin clearly you can just tell he's not top 5 caliber. Maybe do like Mick Parkin versus uh I don't know. I think Kennedy Nzechukwu and Martin Budai are fighting soon. I'm pretty sure they're fighting in 2 weeks on the Emmett versus Murphy card. So if Nzechukwu beats Martin Budai, then you should do Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Mick Parkin. I think that'd be an interesting matchup. But yeah, uh, Tybura picks up the win. Let's move on to the next fight. Loner Kavanagh versus Felipe Dos Santos. This was a sick ass fight. I picked Felipe Dos Santos by split decision, and Loner Kavanagh picks it up by decision 29-28. Man, this was a close ass fight. Felipe first round outstrikes Loner Kavanagh, landed a huge right hand that hurt him, and then was beating him up against the fence, and lands a huge spinning elbow that cuts Loner Kavanagh open bad. A lot of blood on the face of Kavanagh after that, and Felipe wins round one. I was excited, man, because dude, Felipe's looking good. The second round, they're kind of trading more shots, and then they're up against the fence. And at some point, I haven't rewatched any of the fights since they happened, so my memory is kind of a little bit blurry from some of them, but I'm trying to remember. Loner Kavanagh gets the takedown and controls Felipe Dos Santos on the ground. Felipe Dos Santos is working off his back, though. He's trying to look for submission attempts. He's throwing elbows and fists off his back. He's looking good off his back on the ground, but Loner Kavanagh is landing some big elbows and punches on top. He's getting the control. He's winning the round. And man, Felipe just doesn't have takedown defense, man. I didn't think I thought this was going to be just a pure striking matchup. and Felipe Dos Santos was going to be a little bit too aggressive and hurt Loner Kavanagh at one point and win a very close decision. But Loner Kavanagh, man, implements the wrestling, and we have no idea if Loner Kavanagh can actually wrestle, or if it's either one of two things: either Kavanagh has wrestling, or Felipe Dos Santos is the worst defensive wrestler in the division. I have a feeling it might be a bit of both. Felipe Dos Santos has like a 12% takedown defense, and he's been dominated on the ground by everybody. So yeah, man, he's just not good at defending takedowns. He's very easy to pick up and put down. But yeah, Loner Kavanagh picks up the win, man. I was getting hate comments on Instagram about this fight after telling some people in comment sections that this fight's going to be close. Felipe could win it. I'm going Felipe. It's going to be closer than you guys think. And people were saying, no, Loner's going to run through him. And then the fight happens. Loner doesn't run through him. It's a very competitive fight, and he's getting outstruck and resorts to wrestling. And people are like, oh, LOL, what you got to say now? Loner beat his ass. What do you got to say? He didn't. It was a close ass fight. I don't know. Like, this is the thing about MMA fans, man. You try to make a take, say a fight's going to be close, and then whoever wins, they just say, oh yeah, he dominated. This wasn't a domination from anybody. Loner Kavanagh, yeah, he won the fight, but no offense, I love Loner Kavanagh, okay? Loses the first round in striking, resorts to wrestling for the second two rounds. Like, I'm telling you right now, I love Loner Kavanagh. I'm excited to see where he goes in the future. If he didn't wrestle at all in that fight, Felipe would have won the close decision. He would have outdamaged Loner Kavanagh, landed the better shots, and he would have won the fight. So yeah, Loner Kavanagh gets the win by decision. Let's move on to the next fight. Jai Herbert versus Chris Padilla, one of the most boring fights on the card. Not really much to talk about here. I picked Chris Padilla by second round submission, and he gets it done by split decision. Close fight, but I thought he won it. Every single decision on this card, people were saying, "Yeah, man, could have been a robbery, man." None. I don't think any of the decisions were robberies. We'll get to the other controversial one later, but dude, like the Fletcher Lauren decision, people were calling that a robbery. Jan versus Alberg, people were calling that a robbery. People were calling this fight a robbery. Like close fights aren't robberies. Like you guys need to chill out. But yeah, uh, Jai Herbert picks up the what am I saying? Chris Padilla picks up the win. Yeah, I thought he was gonna get him down and sub him. I thought he was gonna have an easier time with the takedowns. Thought he was gonna be able to blitz in and hit more damaging shots, but he still out damaged him, land the harder strikes, and got some cage control. And yeah, Chris Padilla picks up the split decision win. Let's move on to the next fight. Nathaniel Wood versus Morgan Charriere. Nathaniel Wood picks up a 30-27 unanimous decision. I thought Charriere was just going to be the better fighter everywhere, out damage him, do good with the leg kicks, do good with the kicking game in general. But man, he didn't really have any success in this fight. Charriere picks it up, Nathaniel Wood picks it up, excuse me, and he gets the 30-27 unanimous decision win. First round, man, I almost got mad. Nathaniel Wood drops Morgan Charriere bad in the first round, and I'm like, yep, it's over. My pick's gone. And Charrier recovers though. He does good. He ends up on top of Nathaniel Wood and gets some top control, but he got dropped bad, hurt a lot, and Nathaniel Wood wins the first round. Second round, it's just more of the same. Nathaniel Wood is just cleanly outstriking him, landing the jab, landing the better punches. He's clearly the better boxer of the two. Charrier really couldn't get much going, and he just continues that for the next two rounds and beats Charrier by decision, 30-27. And yeah, clean performance from Nathaniel Wood. I don't know, like this guy's been a prospect for like 15 years. Like when is this guy gonna get a ranked opponent? He's just gonna keep fighting these unranked guys, and then they're gonna give him like a Dan Ige, and he's gonna lose. Like that's the whole story of Nathaniel Wood's career. But yeah, Nathaniel Wood picks up the decision. Let's move on to the next fight. Jordan Vucenic. This pissed me off. This pissed me off a lot. Jordan Vucenic. I picked him as a lock by first round sub. He showed in the fight that he was better than Chris Duncan. The fight starts. Chris Duncan lands a huge shot, drops Jordan Vucenic. He kind of like stumbles over. Vucenic survives. Duncan ends up on top. Okay, first round. Jordan Vucenic didn't look great, but second round starts. He starts cleanly outstriking Chris Duncan, landing the better shots, slipping all of his punches, outboxing him. He's doing so good. He's doing great. Outboxing Chris Duncan cleanly. Chris Duncan is clearly slowing down, and Vucenic isn't. So yeah, Jordan Vucenic is cleanly outstriking Chris Duncan, showing that he's the better fighter, showing that he's the more well-conditioned fighter, and showing that he's going to win the decision. He's going to cleanly outstrike him for the next two rounds, right? Nope. Shoots a takedown from across the cage. It gets stuffed. They end up on the ground. Goes back to the feet. Okay, we're all good now. Don't do that again, Jordan. You're cleanly outstriking him on the feet. Land some good jabs, land some good right hands. Duncan's cut. And what do you know? Jordan Vucenic shoots a takedown, stuffs his head into Chris Duncan's armpit, and puts himself into a guillotine and gets guillotined. I really don't understand. I might make a video, like a short, like 5 to 8 minute video, just ranting about how fighters are this high level and this trained, and they're still shoving their heads into guillotines. Andre Fili did it to Melquizel Costa. Vitor Petrino did it to Anthony Smith. And now Jordan Vucenic doing it to Chris Duncan. Like, oh my god. Like, how are you still shoving your head into guillotines? Okay, like, getting, like, if you're on the ground and your opponent sets up a guillotine, or if you're on the ground and your opponent, like, is, like, has, like, a mounted guillotine or something, that's different. But voluntarily shooting a takedown and shoving your head into your opponent's armpit and not pulling your head back when you feel that they're about to guillotine you, or you should know that they're about to guillotine you because you're a professional fighter, it's embarrassing. It's actually just embarrassing. Vucenic just stuffs his head into Duncan's guillotine and didn't even attempt to fight it really. Like, it's so stupid. It's so stupid how fighters go this long training their entire lives and they're still shoving their head into guillotines and giving their opponents free submissions. Like, shoot a proper takedown. Don't shove your head into your opponent's armpit and you don't get subbed. He didn't even need to shoot the takedown. Like, that's what's really pissing me off. He didn't even need to shoot the takedown. Duncan was fading and Vucenic was cleanly outstriking him on the feet. He was on his way to win that round in the pure striking. So, yeah, man. Chris Duncan picks up the second round submission win. Um, it was a fluke. I'm not gonna lie. I'm coping. My lock pick was wrong. Vucenic proved that he was the better fighter, the more conditioned fighter in that second round, and he just proved that he was also the dumber fighter by shooting a takedown and giving Chris Duncan a free guillotine because he just shoved his head into his armpit like a retard. But yeah, I still believe in Jordan Vucenic. I still believe in him. It's just gonna be a lot harder to pick him moving forward. I think honestly, to just like, dude, he had so much potential. Like, I'm telling you guys, Jordan Vucenic is so good. Like, I've been telling people in comments, Vucenic is a lock. Vucenic is so good. And he showed that he was better. Yes, he got clipped in the first round. Happens to the best of us. Second round, he cleanly outstrikes Chris Duncan. And then shoves his head into a guillotine like a retard. Like, oh, I'm coping so bad here, I know. But listen, you'd be coping too if a fighter that you picked as a lock shoved his head into a guillotine and let himself get choked out like that. It's so easy to not shove your head into a guillotine. All you have to do is just not shove your head into the guillotine. It's pretty simple. But yeah, uh, Chris Duncan picks up the second round submission win. Let's move on to the next fight. Molly McCann versus Alexia Thainara. Molly McCann retires after getting submitted in the first round. Alexia Thainara was just stronger and better. On the feet, Molly McCann didn't look terrible. She was landing a couple decent shots. Thainara shoots the takedown, gets it, and just works her way to the submission, gets the rear naked choke, and Molly McCann taps. Alexia Thainara, man, she looks dangerous on the ground. She looks strong, and I think she can be a problem for this division. I think she has a lot of potential. Doing that to Molly McCann on short notice is, I know it's Molly McCann, but doing that to a UFC caliber fighter, I don't even know if Molly McCann's UFC caliber. Doing that in your UFC debut on short notice is pretty impressive. And I know Molly McCann's not the greatest fighter. Her name is Molly McCann for a reason. She's a can, but Alexia Thainara gets it done. That's pretty much all there is to say. And Alexia Thainara, I think she has some potential, but I don't know, man. This 115 division is stacked. It's the best women's division by far. I don't know if she's going to be champ. I definitely don't see her beating like someone like Zhang Weili, but who knows? Maybe the ground game can cause some problems. But yeah, Alexia Thainara gets it done. Let's move on to the next fight. Kevin Holland versus Gunnar Nelson. I am so happy Kevin Holland won. If he lost, then I don't know. I would have been done completely picking Kevin Holland. I picked him by first round TKO, and he almost gets the first round TKO. He drops Gunnar Nelson bad in the first round and almost gets the finish, but Gunnar Nelson is saved by the bell. And also in the first round, Kevin Holland, like, they ended up on the ground. Kevin Holland's trying to go for like some type of weird ass shit, and then Gunnar Nelson just like stands up with Kevin Holland on his arm, and Kevin Holland is just sitting there in the air staring at him while he's holding onto his arm like a fucking briefcase. But yeah, they look at each other, laugh, they say something to each other. This was a really funny fight. It was pretty entertaining. And yeah, Holland picks up the decision win, just cleanly outstrikes Gunnar Nelson on the feet. And on the ground, he was just being way more active. Nelson did no damage in this fight at all. He was on top, trying to look for submissions, but Holland was punching him off the ground, elbows, high kicks, scrambling. He was looking good, man. I'm telling you guys, Holland at 170 is different. He just cleanly outstrikes Gunnar Nelson, cleanly beats him. Third round, I was really nervous because Gunnar Nelson was really close to getting a head and arm choke, which was very nerve-wracking because I thought Kevin Holland was going to get choked out once again. But 170 Holland is different. He survives, doesn't tap, and he rolls out of it, and that's really impressive. He was able to use his long, rangy-ass limbs to keep Gunnar Nelson from stepping over to the side, and he gets it done. Gunnar Nelson, man, if he would have put anybody else in that choke, they probably would have tapped. But Holland at 170 is different. Great submission defense, and he only loses to the best names here. Even he himself in the post-fight interview was talking about how he knows he's a better athlete at 170, but if anybody wants to strike at 185, he's down. I don't want to see Kevin Holland go back up to 185 unless it's against a pure striker with no wrestling, like against like a Shara. I think Kevin Holland versus Shara could be interesting, and weirdly enough, I think Kevin Holland has a chance against Shara. I know it's crazy, but dude, I don't know. Shara's striking's a little overrated, and he's hittable, and Holland's faster, powerful, and who knows, but yeah, man, I'd rather see him stay at 170. He's way better at 170, way better fighter. He's ranked potential in this weight class. And next for Kevin Holland, man, Randy Brown is fighting soon. If Randy Brown beats Nicholas Dalby, I want to see Kevin Holland versus Randy Brown. Winner gets a ranked opportunity. I'd like to see that. Close fight. Either guy could win. I'd probably lean Kevin Holland in that one. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, Kevin Holland gets it done. Let's move on to the next fight. Jan Blachowicz versus Carlos Ulberg. This was probably the most controversial decision of the card. I'm seeing a lot of people saying Blachowicz should have won. MMA Guru talking about it. There's quite a few YouTubers talking about how Blachowicz should have won. A lot of people in comment sections. I disagree, man. I know I picked Ulberg, but I do just think he won the fight. He was just doing more, and I know people are saying like he was running away, but he was still landing more fight. He was still landing more shots than Blachowicz. Like it's the same as the Yusuf Zalal Calvin Kattar fight. Yeah, Zalal was kind of running away, but he was still landing more, and he was still landing better shots. And Carlos Ulberg, I thought he won rounds 2 and 3. Blachowicz won round 1, and yeah, I predicted this fight pretty much perfectly. And Carlos Ulberg, man, he was just faster, sharper, landed with more volume, and he picks up a very close decision win. Close fights are not robberies, guys. I have to say this so many times with different fights. Close fights are not robberies. Could they have given this to Blachowicz? Yes, it was one of those fights that could have went either way. Either way that it goes, not a robbery. If they gave it to Blachowicz, wouldn't have been a robbery. If they gave it to Ulberg, not a robbery. It should have been a split in my opinion, because the rounds were very close, especially that third round. That third round was very close. But man, there was no clear rounds, so they gave it to Ulberg 29-28. I think it's fair. And Blachowicz, man, honestly, you got to give him props. 42 years old, coming off a long layoff with a bunch of surgeries. You got to give him props, man. He still looked good. He was able to have a very close competitive fight with a young up-and-comer on a win streak. So, yeah, man, Carlos Ulberg, I don't know what's next for him, man. I don't know if he deserves a title shot after that performance. Maybe you do like, I don't know, man. Maybe you do Ulberg versus Yuri for a number one contender fight. I know I was talking about in my fights to make video after UFC 313. I wanted Yuri versus Ankalaev. I think they're gonna do Ankalaev versus Pereira in a rematch in Abu Dhabi. So yeah, that'll be interesting. But I think Yuri versus Ulberg for a number one contender fight. Whoever wins that fight can get the title shot, and then whoever loses that fight can face the winner of Hill versus Roundtree. I think that's good matchup again for me. And honestly, I think Yuri would finish Ulberg. I'm not gonna lie to you. I would pick Yuri by finish, but yeah, good win for Carlos Ulberg. And yeah, let's move on to the next fight. Leon Edwards versus Sean Brady. I picked Sean Brady by decision, 48-47. I thought Leon was going to be able to reverse some stuff, do a little bit better on the feet. But dude, Sean Brady just completely shut him down, submitted him in the fourth round, dominated him for the first three. And he also broke a record for most control time in a single round, which was 4 minutes and 57 seconds, I believe, or 58 seconds. So only 2 or 3 seconds on the feet in that round. And Brady just fucking dominated Leon Edwards. That was round 2, I believe. And yeah, man, holy shit. Sean Brady dominated Leon Edwards. And Leon Edwards had nothing for him. I knew this was going to be a bad style for him, but I just thought, you know what? Like 2 or 3 weeks notice for Sean Brady. Leon's tough. He's got underrated grappling. He did good against Bilal, and I thought he was going to be able to reverse some stuff against Brady, but Brady was going to be able to get the decision still. And no, Leon Edwards had no success at all. He was doing good in the first round. He was landing some decent shots. Brady still won it, in my opinion. Landed a good three-piece on him, and then took him down. But yeah, man, Sean Brady just completely fucking bullied Leon Edwards. Submitted him in the fourth round with like a one-arm guillotine. It was really interesting the way he set it up. He lifted up Leon Edwards' head with like his arm, and then quickly wrapped his forearm around Leon Edwards' neck and got like a one-arm guillotine. He put his hand on like his lat or something and like squeezed with like the one-arm guillotine. And dude, he just put Leon Edwards out. First person to finish Leon Edwards in his career. And that was super impressive to me, man. Sean Brady, I think he's the best grappler in the division. He's got elite level wrestling and control and takedowns mixed with a dangerous submission game. This guy's dangerous, man. This guy's a really good fighter. I think next for Sean Brady, I think you do Sean Brady versus Shavkat Rakhmonov for a number one contender fight. And honestly, hear me out. I think Sean Brady could choke out Shavkat Rakhmonov. We seen Ian Gary, who has way lower level ground game, take the back of Shavkat in that fifth round. And almost choke him out with that rear naked choke. But Ian Gary, he's just a vegan, so he just doesn't have the strength. Sean Brady is way stronger than Ian Gary, better cardio, better grappler, better takedown entries, better ground game. I could see Sean Brady submitting Shavkat Rakhmonov. And dude, I don't know, that would just be a sick fight. Put it as like a 5 round fight night main event. No, what am I saying? 5 round co-main event on a pay-per-view. Make it a 5 round co-main event on a pay-per-view. Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Sean Brady, #1 contender fight. Man, I still can't believe this guy's only loss is getting standing TKO'd by Bilal Muhammad. I also want to say something. I got into an argument in a comment section with somebody claiming that, like, how good is GSP? I'll throw the comments on the screen. How good is GSP? I'm going to tell you right now. You guys can read through these comments if you guys want. Sean Brady would beat Prime GSP. I'm sorry. Fighters have just evolved so much. This isn't me disrespecting GSP. I like GSP. I'm from his country, Canadian, and GSP has done a lot for the sport. You cannot sit here and tell me with a straight face that Prime GSP is just going to run through Sean Brady. Do I think Sean Brady would run through GSP? No. I think that'd be close, but I do think Sean Brady would win and maybe even get a submission. I just think he's a better boxer than GSP. He has better wrestling than GSP. He has better jiu-jitsu than GSP. He has the cardio to match him. His striking is just way more evolved. And dude, fighters have just improved so much, especially at welterweight. We're seeing this new wave of welterweights come in, and they're just way higher level. Like, I think Usman is just a slightly better version of GSP. We see Leon Edwards cleanly beat Usman in the trilogy, and we just seen Sean Brady destroy Leon Edwards. The worst we've ever seen Leon get beaten. He dominated him. And I don't know, man. I just can't see a prime GSP or like a Damian Maya or like a fucking, who are some other old heads in the welterweight division? A Matt Hughes or a Matt Serra or anything like that. I just can't see any of those guys beating these new up and comers like Shavkat, Brady, JDM. They're just evolved so much. But yeah, even like a prime Tyrone Woodley or like a prime Usman, I just think these new guys like JDM, Shavkat, Brady, even Bilal. I just think they're better. I just think this is the best era of welterweight skill wise that we've ever seen. These are the most skilled welterweights of all time, and I think Sean Brady is the second best welterweight in the world. I think only Bilal Muhammad is better than him, and I think he could even this new version of Sean Brady could even beat Bilal Muhammad. I think he had an off night against Bilal. Listen, I don't want to make up any excuses for Brady, but that Brady that fought Bilal did not look like the Sean Brady that we've seen against Gilbert Burns and against Leon Edwards. So maybe he's going to be a hard, maybe on a good night he's a hard matchup for Bilal, but who knows? I think he beats Usman. I think he beats JDM as much as I love JDM. I think he could beat Shavkat. I think he beats Ian Gary. I think he beats Buckley. Like, this guy's just good, man. He's good. Buckley would be a hard fight because of the wrestling defense and the explosive boxing, but I still think he's the second best welterweight on the planet. And I think he's, hear me out, I think he's the best grappler in welterweight history skill wise and like dominance wise. Usman wasn't dominating people like that. Usman couldn't dominate Leon Edwards on the ground like that. Bilal didn't dominate Leon Edwards on the ground like that. Like, we've never seen Leon just get fully dominated on the ground and have no success. He had success taking Usman down. He had success taking Bilal's back and getting on top of Bilal. He had zero success against Sean Brady. Nothing. But yeah, man, great performance from Sean Brady. Do him versus Shavkat next, either as a 5 round fight night main event or a 5 round co-main event. A fight night event in like a crowded arena somewhere, not in the Apex, please, but in like a crowded arena, maybe in like Sean Brady's hometown or something. That could be interesting. But yeah, Sean Brady versus Shavkat Rakhmonov, 5 rounds, make it somewhere. And yeah, let's move on to the official recap. 8 for 13 on picks, pretty good. I'm not mad about that. Fight of the night, easily Kavanagh versus Dos Santos. Bloody battle, back and forth war. And best finish, I'm giving it to Bannon versus Tomar. Getting dropped with a head kick and then coming back with a clutch armbar. That was nice, man. That was skilled and that was good. Wasn't expecting something like that from Shauna Bannon, but yeah, she gets it done. I went 1 for 2 on lock picks. Vucenic sold, and I went 2 for 3 on underdogs. You'll also notice that in the prediction video, I'm not like really tracking underdogs anymore because I don't know. I'll probably bring them back in the next video. I don't know. I just don't really feel the need to track underdogs because they're underdogs for a reason. They're supposed to lose, so the percentage is always going to be low. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know if you guys think I should bring back tracking underdogs. I don't know if there's really a point, but if you guys want me to bring it back, I will. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments how you guys thought this card went, what your guys' favorite fights were, favorite performances. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. Peace.